Welcome to this episode of the Talent Forge, where together we are shaping workforce behaviors. Today, I am joined by special guest Mikael Avatar, and that is Michael with a K, not with the CH. So, for any of you looking for Michael online, you'll be able to find him. Mikael Avatar, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I am so excited to be on your show. This
Well,
will be fun.
it is a pleasure to have you, Michael. Let's get started with a little of your background. I'd love to hear your story and to better understand how did you get into this leadership space?
Well, it started when I was really, really young, like 10 years old. I had this crazy idea I was going to train to the Olympics.
Okay.
And I thought maybe I need to read some books and have some idea of what I'm doing. And people start following me to the training every day. So I read books. So I had a little group when I was 10 years. They were from 7, 8 years up to 30 years because I was good. So they listened. So that's where my training ability started really, and then it developed, and it had been over 40, 45 years now. So
Wow.
it's a long, long, long time.
So Michael, I do my research on all of our guests before they come in. You are a world record holder. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, as I told you, I started training to the Olympic, and after 10 years of training, they told me, wow, there is this called Paralympic. I had no clue. So then I knew I'm gonna go to the Paralympic. No worry. So when I was 27, I have trained for like 17 years. And I broke the world record in Atlanta, 1996. So it's a lot of training, lot of focus, lot of oh, it's so many steps you have to take to do that kind of achievement, and it's so small margin of success, not success. I had no clue it was so complicated. When I stopped my sport, then I understood deeply how difficult it is and how difficult to coach people to do stuff in business, in sports, in violin or whatever to really, really make it. It's very rare, very rare.
So, Michael, I love your story because it is packed full of resilience and some of the things that you teach. Now, when you had mentioned the Paralympics, from what I was able to understand from your background, is you actually had a very abnormal, what would be called birth. And
Yeah.
from there, you were diagnosed with cerebral palsy and you were able to
Yeah.
overcome that and literally become a world record holder. That is just incredible. And I want to acknowledge what you must have. I mean, the sheer mental strength and the ability to kind of push forward against those odds is absolutely incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got that resilience? What that resilience, what brought you that sense of I'm going to do this and I am not going to stop until I get success because it's incredible.
Yeah, but I think people ask me this question many, many times, but I think I was born with this. I mean, when I was 4 years old, my hands, I couldn't open my hands. My feet was the opposite of Charlie Chaplin. I fell all the time. I couldn't really, my body was not in shape. But I ran to my mom and said, Mom, I want to be a mountain climber when I grow up. And my mother told me, but you can't make money on that.
Mm.
But she was so wrong because 20 years later, I was a rock climber instructor. And you should see the eyes from those people coming, and I was the teacher. I mean, it's in your head. It's when you find your passion. I love sport more than anything else. And I told people the day I don't have that passion, that goal, that whatever it is, I'm out of there. And that day came, and I left it because you need that glue, that whatever it is, because all the bumps you have, they disappear. It's not obstacles. You don't see them. You just focus.
Michael, it's such an inspiring message because when I think about leadership and I think about, there's sometimes that we get put into leadership because there was nobody else there, or we
Yeah.
get put into leadership because, that's the next step in our career. But without that passion, are we truly showing up in the way that we need to show up to have that level of success? And what I'm hearing you say is, that passion is what gets you across the goal line. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate. And that's why I tell people don't live half a life and half life automatics on your whatever it is. Be aware. Where are you going? Do you wake up every day? And I literally mean every day. What can I make today that makes me happy?
Mm.
That makes me get that little glue. Even if I can do it for 5 minutes, that's enough. But you have to have that, whatever it is. And if you don't have it, don't do it. Literally, don't do it.
I can think of so many people that are sitting in jobs or haven't made a decision to move or change just because it's been comfortable, or that they're not happy in the position, but they haven't made that decision. I want to go back
Yeah.
and just acknowledge, I think there's something so important. 20 years later, and you are teaching people how to do rock climbing. It's just incredible. But it tells me how often we judge a book by the cover. That we as individuals or people, we make assumptions about what somebody can do and what they can't do, and how good they're going to be at something, or maybe, this person's not ready for this position. And it sounds to me like you've experienced that throughout your life. Can you talk about how did you overcome that? Because I think all of us on some level, and maybe to different degrees, all of us feel like we want somebody to just be like, "Hey, you know what? You can do this." But that doesn't always come. How did you overcome some of that, Michael?
I think I I'm curious. I'm a curious person. And a curious person takes action to understand. So I read about stuff, I took action. I tested, tested, tested. And there's a fine line here between uh, testing wrong, testing right.
Mm.
Sometimes you have to do stuff further than people do. You, your brain, scientifically, don't get automatic until the 16th day. That's our brain. After that, then we start doing things automatically. So if you don't do 60 days, you can't get it automatically. That's one part. But the other part is after 60 days, you see more. And if it's right, you have more glow. Wow! Because the more you see, the more excited you should be. That's why I do stuff with people. Say 60 days, that's only the first step. Then you have 90, 120, 180. Because your brain, you can train your brain to anything,
So powerful.
anything.
So
And, and I train myself all the time, push myself in small things that nobody knows about. Nobody. Because I love experimenting with my brain. Is that a good answer?
I love that answer, Michael, because what you're telling me is that growth mindset, that curiosity of like, who says I can't? Or, why? What evidence shows that I can't do this? Let me try it. Let me get out there and do something. And that's
Yeah.
such a beautiful way to look at the world, Michael, because I think if more people did that, they would take the chances to say, hey, I've got this brilliant idea, but nobody's going to love that. Well, what evidence?
Well, I used to tell this story so people, I'm a storyteller, so people really understand what I mean. I had this wild cat in the back in, in Thailand. You have the kitchen outside. There was this wild cat coming there. When you go outside, it ran away. So in my brain, I thought, oh, I want this cat to come to me and sit on my lap. I had no clue how to do that. So I started focus. How can I get this cat to not be scared from me? How do I go out to the kitchen? And it was my mission. It was like my own training camp for myself as a coach. It took me maybe 2 months before it ran away. It took me 7 or 8 months. It sat on my lap. My ex-wife, she told me, how do you do that? How do you get a wildcat who has never been uh, near human to sit on your lap and you didn't lift it? That's my passion. That's my small daily challenges. Because if I can do that and I have a human being, I can understand them on a totally different level. You understand what I mean?
Absolutely. And Michael, let me applaud your persistence on that because I know some people that would be like, after a week, they'd be like, I forget it. This cat's never gonna, and they'd stop. And what I'm hearing you say is that you've got that sort of drive that says, you know what? Maybe tomorrow that cat's gonna sit on my lap. 7 to 8 months you worked on that project and you
Yeah,
started to attune to that cat. You
yeah.
started to have a relationship. That's so powerful.
And it wasn't the whole day. It was just 1 minute. It was 1 minute here, 1 minute. It's not 100%. It's small steps.
Beautiful.
In anything you do, it's not the cat, it's not the work you do, it's not the violin you try to play or actor or whatever. It's these small, small things that end up to who you are as a person.
Now, I'm going to relate this to your 1% concept because I know that you talk about that 1%, and we're going to get into that because I think that's so important and so powerful.
Mm,
Before we do that, I want to go back to something that you said earlier. It really hit me, Michael. You had said, when you had told your mom that you wanted to be a mountain climber, and her response was, "How are you going to do that?" And, I think about this and in different contexts, right? There's a power of believing in yourself, and there's a power of other people believing in you. Let me ask you, how important has it been for you to truly believe in yourself first? And then what has it meant to have other people believe in you? Like, what does that look like for you?
that's a tricky question.
Hmm.
This is a very good question because since I have cerebral palsy, people don't believe in me. People don't understand what I create. So I'm kind of out of that room. So I'm kind of free. So I don't have this hang up in my head. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But uh, I have had mentors, good mentors in my life, all my life. I choose to pick mentors, uh, some very high level, some books, reading knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. But support team, it's very tricky because when you're on this level where what we are talking about, high performance, you are very, very lonely.
Mm.
You know that. I know you are very lonely. You rarely meet people that really understand what you're talking about. And when you do, you are like a sponge. You take all the knowledge that you can and then you transfer it to your life. And that's the trick. There's so many skilled people out there. I meet them, I talk to them, but they can't fit it together. They
Hmm.
don't need a new course, new whatever. They haven't got the thing to put it together so it's driving them where they want to go. That's so I don't. It's a very tricky question to answer, but for normal people, I think this is a big problem to have a support team because most people don't have it. They don't have it. You have to create it.
Mm. I love
You
that.
have to, like, if you want to go to the gym, don't go to the gym. Tell your friend, I see you 7 o'clock tomorrow. Then you have to be there because your friend is there. And if you are 3 people or 4 people, then you will go to the gym. It doesn't matter what you do at the gym, you will be there. After 6 months, you change your perspective of your body, of your health, of your people around you. That's the kind of support that people need to have. But if you're a sports level, you don't have that. It's not the same system. It's like the president of the United States. He is alone with very, very alone, whatever he is doing.
It's so true. And this is actually something I hear a lot from executive leaders is that they feel lonely, that I don't know who to talk to. I don't have anybody to talk
Yeah.
downstream to or anything else. And if I heard you correctly, that occurs with everybody that's sort of that high performance, and it's a value to cultivate that connection, to build that connection, to build that support group. So you actively went out and found mentors that were supporting you. You found a cheering section that was supporting you, and built sort of that community around support. Is that what I'm hearing, Michael?
Yeah, yeah. But it was, this is very interesting because I hear people a lot. You don't need to have the support in your field. You
Mm,
can have the support in totally different stuff. But when your car breaks down, you go to the car repair. You have a support team around you, but you should use it in a different perspective. It's not just that you go and change your tire, it's the meeting, a cup of coffee, water, talk to people. That's support too. It doesn't need to be a miracle. Talk.
I love that. Well, and I think that's, something that I'm seeing more and more of is, I'm seeing some of these executives get support from their church groups or get support from their,
Yeah.
local racquetball club or something of that nature. That's not really related to their high performance career,
Yeah.
but they're still feeling connected to an extent somewhere else. I think
Yeah.
so. Michael, let's talk about this.
Mm.
One of the things that you had said. All right, so we've got this concept of 1%, and you've obviously demonstrated a resilience that most of us would absolutely would be jealous, right? We would be thinking like, gosh, this person has accomplished so much. And from your described, you've had a number of barriers, you've had a number of challenges, but that never really stopped you from being curious and advancing forward. And that's such a beautiful mentality that is inspiring, is just incredibly inspiring. What is the 1%, and how do we think about, all right, well, how can I be better tomorrow than I was today? Talk us through that. And I know you've got your own method as well.
Yeah, the 1% is like a chain reaction. You focus on 1%, something that you want to change, something you feel happy about, something you do, and that percent, if you do it regularly, it will create a chain reaction, and that chain reaction will take you someplace else. This is my example. When you finish sports, that's another podcast. uh, You have a gap. What do I do now? When you finish your career, what do you do? So I thought, how can I find the same passion? And I found it in art. So then I started painting. And after a few, oh, this is really relaxing. So I told myself, let's do 100 paintings because it's like a process. So you don't need to be good, bad, just paint. What happened is that after 30 paintings, they get bigger and bigger. So you can't be at home. You have to rent the studio. Okay, so if you rent the studio, it costs money. You have to sell your paintings. So after 100 paintings, you have the whole process. Then you can decide, do I want to be an artist or should I just paint? So that's an example of I put every Sunday. three, from 9 to 3 o'clock, I will go to my studio. Sometimes I didn't paint, but I was there. And if you're in the studio with color, you will paint. I mean, that's like a 1%. But today I do art videos, I do my own music, doing a performance thing. It's more than 1% because it started small.
Mm.
Is that a good example
Yeah.
how to change? Because it's had an impact for my sport career to my art career. So that's the 1%.
But Michael, I'm going to go back to the cat story, the wildcat story that you told, right? Where it was, you were doing 1 minute a day or 2 minutes a day. It wasn't so much. And when we think about goals, just as humans, whenever we think about goals, we see the top of the mountain and we're like, we want to get to the
Yeah.
top of the mountain, but we forget that getting to the top of the mountain is a series of 1% steps. We've got to make this first, and then this peak, and then this summit. One step at a
Yeah.
time is how we achieve anything. So if I'm hearing and understanding properly, it's, you don't have to be the expert tomorrow. You have to take a step, and that step is just 1% better. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. But the thing is that people have 10, 21%. They don't focus on one.
Mm-hmm.
They have too many. They go to the gym, they do the painting, they're reading their book, and it's too much. Focus on here. Okay, is this book in the line of the 1% I want to have in my life?
Okay.
Is this whatever you are doing and going in your life? Is this you have to take like a step back, reflect? Is this for me where I want to go? Does it make me happy?
Mm, I love
If
that.
not, stop.
Yeah.
I mean, reflect. Where are you going? When you talk to a lot of people, and how many people know where they are going? They have no clue.
It's true.
They have no clue.
It's true. And the science really backs this up, Michael. Harvard Business had done a study on leaders and managers, and the ones that ended up spending even 5 to 10 minutes a day just reflecting on their
Yeah,
work, on their goals, on their purpose, and
yeah.
all of those things massively outperformed those that aren't reflecting and aren't actually thinking about, like, hey, where am I at? Where's my energy? Where's my product? What's my goal for today? What's my goal for 10 years? So that reflection piece I think is important. But I think,
Can I tell
yeah.
one thing so people understand? Yesterday I talked to my ex-wife in Sweden. She know me very well. I moved to Thailand because I had cramp. It was too cold weather. And when I came to Thailand, I was pain-free. So I called her up and I have some question. He's like, this is the support team, one of the people I call, because I thought, oh, maybe I should start play chess again. I played chess when I was little. I was quite good. I went on the internet, did chess, blah, blah, blah. So I asked her, what's your opinion about me starting playing chess again? And she's told me, why? Do you get happy? And the decision came, no, I should not start again. it's gone. It was a previous life.
Mhm.
So you have to have people around you to ask. So I deleted my account because that's how you do it. You quit if it doesn't fit. But sometimes you have to talk to people. Is this correct? Am I convinced that this is the right way? Or is it just an illusion from some crazy idea I had?
I've had plenty of crazy ideas too, Michael. So, but I love that, being able to have trusted confidence, being able to talk to people and say, "Hey, let me work through this." And do you see this as aligning? But I think one of the biggest messages that I want to make sure that the audience walks away with, if I'm hearing you correctly, the 1%'s not just about starting small, but it's also about keeping laser focused on your
Yeah.
priorities and
Yes.
trying to align and make sure, is this serving what I'm trying to accomplish? If I'm trying to be the best leader, going out and starting to learn how to play the piano may not necessarily, I may love it, but maybe that's not the right time. Am I hearing you correctly when I say laser focus seems to be one of your superpowers, that you've been able to say, if this doesn't fit, then it gets cut. And I'm just going to focus
Yeah.
on what needs to happen.
Yeah, because if just for me is 90%, it will not be my happiness. It has to be 100. I can give you a short example.
Hmm.
My girlfriend now, she have a grandchild here, 2 years old. And when he comes, he needs 2 seconds, 100%. That's it. If you give him 100% focus, 2 seconds, he is happy. And then he run away. But if you give him 72%, he will scream at you. But if you give 100, so that's uh, easy to check, children. But you have to check yourself too. Is it 100% focus? Is it really this, whatever it is? Because then you have the magic. If it's only 92, you don't have the magic.
So powerful. It's such an incredible lesson and something great for every audience member to take away. Michael, this has been an incredible conversation. If our audience wanted to reach out and connect with you, I know it's Michael with a K, Mikael Avatar, but where
Yeah.
would they find you? Would they find you on LinkedIn, Instagram? What's the best way for them to get in touch?
I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, but I have a website too, michaelavatar.com, and you have two things there. You have a free book, it's my second book, it's called Life Reset, How to Reset Your Life. It's free to download, but I want to I have a so I have this website. You have two things there. One is my book, Life Reset, free of download on my website. But you have this app that we talk a lot about today for training your brain 180 days. Start with 30-second reflex and go up to 1 hour. So you can do this up totally free. On my website, you find this app to train your brain to really reflect. Where are you going? How do you reflect? And that's a really good thing to start.
That's incredible. So that is michaelavatar.com, and we'll make sure that we
Yeah,
get that into the show notes. So,
yeah.
Michael, I want to say thank you. This has been an incredible conversation. I've really appreciated it. It's inspiring to hear just how you've been able to navigate those different aspects and to be such a high performance athlete, to be a high performance professional and business leader in all of those areas, and artist, by the way. Uh, Such an incredible story that you have. And I just want to say thank you for coming on here and sharing that with us.
Yeah, thank you for letting me be here. You have really good questions. I am really interesting. Wow. I mean, it's a pleasure for me to talk to people like you who really understand how, how do we get people out there to wake up.
I love it.
Please wake up.
What a great note to end on. Well, audience, we're going to ask you to wake up and also thank you for listening in to today's episode on the Talent Forge, where together we're shaping workforce behavior. Thanks again, Michael. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.